Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesday. It's August 19th, 2025. Please note this event is being recorded. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that anything you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For everybody who is on Zoom right now, feel free to put in your contact information in the chat window. Connect with everybody else who's on the call. You know, LinkedIn is all about who you know and who knows you. And this is a great way to connect with everybody else who's here because you never know who you will be able to help. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org, a website to help those unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I launched careerusa.org to help those around the United States. I have written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. It is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I have copies with me. I have led the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group since 2007. We have a great speaker coming up this Friday, and I'll tell you about that at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the Practice Interview Team, also known as the PIC Crew. Don't wait until you actually have an interview scheduled. Schedule an interview now. Practice early, practice often, because you want to be ready when they ask you to come in for an interview. For more information, just go to dallaspicrew.com. Well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who rotate through on a monthly basis. Today, our speaker is Ruth Lipsky. She's a career coach at Lee Heck Harrison. She helps job seekers on a daily basis. And today, she's going to talk about LinkedIn's tools for job seekers. So, Ruth, thank you for being with us, and it's all yours.
All right. Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you for everything that you do to help out people who are looking for their next career step and how they can get there. We're going to be talking about LinkedIn and the ability of LinkedIn to help you with your job search. So, as we're going through this, you can ask questions. You can put them in the chat feature. Jeff is going to be keeping an eye on that, and we can stop at any point and talk in more detail. We're going to start with showing what the recruiters do when they're on LinkedIn. And for a recruiter who is using the LinkedIn Recruiter software, which is just about every major company out there, they're going to start with a basic search. They're going to be looking for a title. They're going to be looking for a geographic location. They're going to be looking for certain skills. Geographic location, if the recruiter leaves that off because they're willing to look for remote people, LinkedIn still is going to be looking for geographic locations close to the home office. So it's got a default that it can't ignore anything just because the recruiter doesn't put it there. And we know that the geographic locations that the LinkedIn algorithm prefers are metropolitan areas. So if you are in a city that is close to a metropolitan area, you'll get better results if you put in that metropolitan area instead of putting in a city. If you put in a country like United States, you have just told LinkedIn that you have no geographic location and they mark you down for that. So having a United States, which quite often would try and mean I'm willing to work anywhere. I'm willing to relocate. I'm willing to work remote. Actually means something different to the LinkedIn algorithm, and you're hurting yourself on that. Now, when the recruiter is putting in just these 3 pieces of information, and in this case, it's going to be a project manager in the greater Chicago area with skills in business strategy and analytics. LinkedIn is going to give them 42,798 people whose profiles match at least a part of this search. And it's not unusual for LinkedIn to give you tens of thousands of results, but the recruiter will generally only look at the first 100, maybe 120 that come up on the list. Now, it's important to know that nothing LinkedIn does is random. There's a reason that this person came up number one in a search out of nearly 43,000 people. And there's a reason this person came up second and this person third. And a lot of it is how the recruiter is using the filters that are associated with a search. So the spotlight features, the first one a recruiter uses is this person open to work? If I contact this person about an opportunity, are they going to be willing to talk to me or am I wasting my time? I just hate wasting my time. I'm going to look for people who have that open to work indicator on. And since they're using the LinkedIn Recruiter software, it doesn't have to be visible with the hashtag open to work banner around the headshot. It just needs to say, I'm open to work. They're going to be looking for people who have a connection to somebody in the company. If you know someone in the company, if you are connected on LinkedIn to somebody in the company, they think you're probably more knowledgeable about what the company does, what the culture is, what the activities are. If you've shown interest in the company, that's another good sign because now you're looking at mutual interest here. I'm interested in you. You should be interested in me. And they're looking for people who are active on LinkedIn. The more active you are on LinkedIn, the higher the algorithm is going to be bringing you up into a recruiter search. It's like a loyalty program. The more you use LinkedIn, the more you use its features, the more you use the commenting, the networking, the job searching, the more LinkedIn is going to say, this is a good person because they're active and they'll be active in your company too. So, based on that, we're going to be looking at three different areas. We're going to take a look at the top section of your LinkedIn profile. We're going to be talking about the skills, and we're going to be talking about the spotlight features in a little bit more detail. Now, did you notice that when LinkedIn gives information, it's very little information that they're giving to the recruiter? They're giving the headshot, they're giving the name, they're giving the title, and they're giving what the past jobs are. But the real important part is that they are giving the headline for each one of these people. In this case, project manager at Cisco, this one, senior project management at, and then giving a company. That's all the information the recruiter has to determine whether they want to look more closely at you. So the headline is going to be just a hugely important feature because it's the only time you can talk directly to a recruiter. And having an attention grabbing headline is going to mean that the recruiter is going to be intrigued by you, interested in you, loving the skills that you're putting out here. So if you are a person who lives by their skills, like a full stack application developer, adding into the headline area the software, the hardware, anything technical that would bring the attention of the recruiter to you more closely. Perfect way to do it. Now, you've got 220 characters in that headline area. You don't need to use every one. You need to use enough in order to send your message as to why you are looking for this type of role. But if you're a project manager, a program manager, putting in something that says more specifically what you do, because project manager, program manager are used in a lot of different industries, a lot of different companies. They can mean slightly different things. They can be in different departments that have different types of activities. Put in what it is that you do. You can also put in a value, uh, increasing productivity in highly regulated industries. Better than simply saying, I'm an accountant. Now you're an accountant who has a skill that is probably going to be interesting to a recruiter. Customer experience manager, service improvement specialist. That's probably something that's going to be needed in just about any. But putting in results also can be a huge plus because now you've proven a capability and a skill. The higher you are in an organization, generally the broader your headline area is going to be. It's going to be more strategic and it's going to be a value statement. So, a customer relations director would not put skills. They would not put communication, leadership. Those are skills that aren't necessarily key to their success. It's part of their success, but it's better to put the value you bring. And innovating customer satisfaction one experience at a time is going to give a lot more information to the recruiter than just a list of skills. So, depending on what type of job you have, depends on what type of headline is going to be most beneficial to you. But look at either putting in skills that are unique to the role that you're looking for, or a value statement utilizing X to achieve Y that is going to get the attention of the recruiter. Verification is something that you need to do on your profile too. It's one of the newer options, but LinkedIn is struggling with the profiles that are scams, that are AI constructs, that are just not real people. So they created a verification that says, prove to me that you're a real person. And you can either do it with a government issued identity, either a driver's license or a passport, or you can have your workplace verify you. If you don't have current employment, you're probably going to want to be doing the government issued identity. You do that on your phone, you can't do it on a laptop. But as you're looking at LinkedIn and you're getting contacts from hiring managers or recruiters, take a look and see if they're real people. One of the ways that scammers are getting toward people is they message and say, got a great job. Looks like it's going to be a great fit for you. Let's talk. Send us your information. And they get very detailed very quickly in a process. Using caution is going to be important, but looking for that verification by their name is sometimes going to give you a better set of information on, is this a real person in this organization? Companies are also using this verification to indicate that they're a real company. Now, the end date, that comes up quite a bit. At what point should I turn off the fact that I was at this job? Rule of thumb, 2 months, maybe 3 months. And then you've got two types of ways that you can say that you're no longer working. One of them is that LinkedIn allows you to add a career break. And the career break says, I am no longer working, and here are the reasons that I am not working. It's a good list, and you can find it right at the top of your LinkedIn profile. When you're going into your experience section, you're going to add an experience. And if you want to add a career break, you select what type it is, add that in, save it. The problem with adding a career break, though, is that it still means you're unemployed. And one of the features of LinkedIn is that they are looking for skills that people have used in their most recent job. And if you don't have a most recent job, that is a job or a placeholder of a job, then LinkedIn is not going to be able to find you. So adding a career break says I'm unemployed, and recruiters inadvertently, for the most part, aren't able to see anything in your profile if they are looking for current use of skills. So your other option to show that you are no longer working is to put in a placeholder. And the placeholder allows you to put in a couple different titles on what you're looking for in your next role, and then putting in something like actively seeking my next opportunity, open to new opportunities, anything that tells the recruiter that this is a placeholder job. It's a fake job just so that you know what my current skills are. Then filling in the description area pretty much everything that you had in your previous role so that all of that comes up as an important part of what you've done recently, what the skills are, what your experiences are, and what you can contribute to your next role. So as you close out and say you're no longer at the company that you were at, don't add the career break, add in a placeholder position that says, I'm looking for a new job. Here are the titles that I'm looking for. Here are all the skills that I have that make me eligible for this type of role. title search is a huge plus. It has a high value in the algorithm because anytime you've got the exact title or a very, very close title to what the recruiter is looking for, you get bonus points. You can change the titles in your experience section in order to translate the title that your company gave you to a type of title that is more known in the industry. So at LHH, they've given me a title of career consultant, but actually career coach is used more often in the industry. So I put a pipe between those two titles. So I'm saying this is a translation of my title to what you may be calling it in your company. You can put as many of those in as you want. But some companies get real creative about what job title they're going to give you, and it doesn't translate well. And if it doesn't translate, then recruiters are generally not able to find you as easily. Now, if your company gave you a title and the title didn't necessarily describe what you were doing, then you can put in the title that the company gave you, but then in parentheses, put in the types of titles that are really more associated with your job responsibilities. So in my case, senior manager of training and development, the role of my team of 12 trainers was in big part to take classroom training and move it into e-learning experiences. So although I had one title, I could accept a job as an instructional designer or an e-learning developer because the type of work I did at that time. So putting in alternate titles to describe what you actually did in parentheses after your company given name is going to give people a better feel for what you did. And that title, anything in that title area is going to be hugely important to LinkedIn. Now let's talk about skills. You've probably got 1,000 skills simply because you are an adult, you have been in a working environment, you have a personal life, you have a lot of skills, but you have to narrow it down to find what the recruiters are really looking for because that's how you're going to get that match on LinkedIn. And one of the best ways is to go to Career Explorer. It is a separate site outside of your LinkedIn. And let me get to it. Here's what it looks like. It will not be something similar that would be on your www.linkedin.com. This is a separate site that LinkedIn has information that he thinks it's important for people who are interested in networking in the industries in the future to be looking at. In this case, we're going to be looking at let's find the new jobs based on the skills that you already have. And it gives you the ability to put in a, well, janitor's necessary. Let's say a project manager. And we're going to go with an IT project manager. It gives a list of skills that it anticipates an IT project manager would have. And when a recruiter is looking at your profile, quite often it's going to be one of these or two of these or three of these that they're looking at. When a recruiter is doing a search, they are not necessarily looking for your softer skills. They're looking for, can you do the job technically? That's our first question. After that, we'll evaluate whether you're going to fit into our team or not. But as you look through these, if you don't have one of these in your profile, you may want to consider adding it. You may want to consider taking a class on it so that you've got more familiarity to it. But LinkedIn is probably using this. They're not telling us they are, but they're probably using this to evaluate how strong you are in this role. Now, what it does give you also on the right-hand side is what's your next job? What kind of job do you want next that uses the skills that you have in your current job to find something new? No surprise on some of these information technology delivery manager, manager of project management. It gives you the percent match that you have to the skills over here, and it tells you what skills to build if you want to move into that role. And it gives you a couple different options. Do you want something that is very similar? Do you want something that is very popular as a normal career path? It'll tell you, since it's telling you the skills to build, it does help you position yourself for a title that you don't have right now, but you feel that you're close to. So if you were an IT project manager and you have done some of these things, you can add that to your profile to indicate that you're perfectly capable of doing this other job. So as you're adding more skills to your profile, you're indicating the breadth of experience you have and the fact that you could be eligible for a lot of different jobs out there. But really the key on this page is here are the skills that LinkedIn thinks you should have if you are working as a title here.
Ruth, we do have a question.
Okay.
Wendy asked, how much important relevance to recruiters or hiring managers do they place on completing LinkedIn learning classes when you don't have the direct experience in that area?
Most of the time, recruiters love seeing you take classes. They are going to be hiring somebody who is probably 80% qualified for that role. They want to know that you're able to learn that additional 20% of the company's processes and procedures, maybe some hardware, software that they've developed internally and wouldn't be found anyplace else. So being able to see that you've taken classes, that you have passed classes, and you've got that on your LinkedIn as a either a certificate or a license or just a class completed, really positive. Make sure that they're generally associated with the career path that you're looking at, but any class that is associated with a new skill, like artificial intelligence, is looked at positively because it means that you're expanding the types of skills that you have in order to look toward the future. So yeah, if you've got LinkedIn Learning available to you, take some classes, add those in. It expands the information that you have in your LinkedIn profile and gives the recruiter a better feel for your trainability and your interest in learning either deeper skills or new skills altogether, both of which are very positive. Any other questions at this point?
Nothing else. Thanks.
Okay. Let's take a look then at the Spotlight features. The Spotlight features are the features that are embedded in the LinkedIn recruiter software that allow a recruiter to narrow down the thousands upon thousands of names that LinkedIn gives them into something that is going to show that this is a person that is generally either more qualified or more interested in their work. So let's talk about that hashtag open to work. There are some negatives out there that people feel that it is a desperate measure. And the reason that people feel that it could be desperate is that they feel that you should never tell anybody that you're looking for work. It goes back to, probably 20 years ago now, where if you got laid off from work, it was probably for a good reason. You were probably the low performer, and that's why you were laid off. However, once we got into the 2010s, where there were so many mergers and acquisitions, there were so many companies that were buying other companies and then getting rid of the whole department because it was a duplication of what they already had in the purchasing company. It's no longer a signal that you were a poor performer. It's a signal that you were in the wrong place at the wrong time for that particular event. And then came the pandemic, and companies had to restructure in order to financially survive the downturn of the economy that happened. Once again, not a performance layoff. It was because the company had to cut out quite often some very key functions in order to survive with the core functions that were important for them to move through. So the people who are looking at this as a sign of desperation quite often are the older people who remember going through that conversation of who should we lay off 20 years ago, and not the newer people who recognize that there's a lot of people who are being laid off who are immensely talented. Let's grab them fast. The other negative, though, is that it ties in with this that there could be reputation damage. That if you're telling people that you're not working, it could be an indication that you were that poor performer. LinkedIn doesn't see it that way. LinkedIn feels that there's no shame to being unemployed, particularly with the economic conditions that we've had in the last 20 years. The reason that they have created that hashtag open to work is so that you can increase your visibility. Recruiters are looking for people who are interested in changing jobs. They don't want to have to talk somebody out of a job that they love. So they are going to be creating more positive events associated with that hashtag open to work, particularly if you have it in public. Not everybody needs it in public. If you are uncomfortable with it, don't do it, but do make sure that you have it available for a recruiter so that they can see it. There's more networking opportunities associated with that hashtag open to work banner because people are going to generally know that you are interested, that you are looking for opportunities, and there's more that is going to be used in LinkedIn that's going to help you out. So, bottom line, my recommendation is always use the hashtag open to work. At least do it for the recruiter only, but you're missing half of the recruiters who are out on LinkedIn looking for talent. Half of them are going to be using the LinkedIn Recruiter software. Costs about $800 a month per license. Not every company is able to use that service, but half the recruiters are out there just using the search bar in order to find people. And when they see that they have that hashtag open to work banner, they're more drawn to that. And that's normally the first place they're going to look for that talent.
Ruth, Kathleen asks, does turning the open to work on and off each week make a difference to showing up in recruiter searches?
It does need to be refreshed, but normally every 2 months. LinkedIn ages everything that you've got in your profile. So every 2 months, you should change your headline, even if it just means changing the order that you have things. Every 2 months, you need to turn off the hashtag open to work, turn it back on again. There's probably not much benefit doing it on a weekly basis, but certainly doing it every 2 months is a huge plus because it resets the idea that you're looking for a job.
Thank you.
Okay. So the next spotlight feature is mutual interest. Companies want to know that you're interested in them. They're going to be drawn to people who have indicated that they like the company, admire the company, know people in the company. And there are four ways that you can tell a recruiter that you are interested in them. You can follow them, you can set up job alerts, you can show that you're interested, and you connect to people. So let's take a look in more detail about how all that is going to work because it's going to give you the opportunity to find more ways of letting the recruiter know that you're interested. So if somebody could give me a company that they're looking at these days.
Just put it in the search box. First one is Fidelity.
Okay. Fidelity Investments. Being able to follow a company, and let's just go on to their page. Click on the name of the company and you will be on the LinkedIn page for this company. It is different from the page that they have for normal public consumption. But there are a couple ways that you're going to be letting Fidelity know that you are interested in their company. And the first one is you're going to follow them. And when you follow a company, it says, I want to hear what your company's doing. Put information on my homepage every time you post about new products, new features, new company endeavors. Uh, I want to know about you, and it's going to appear on your homepage. The next thing, though, is you're going to go into their About section. And in the About section, there is often going to be a box that says, are you interested in working with us in the future? Click on I'm interested. This starts the handshake that says, I'm not just following you for financial reasons. I'm following you because it's a company that I want to work for. And this is going to bring you toward the top of a recruiter search because they believe that if you're interested in their company, it's going to be easier to schedule interviews to convince you that this is the type of job that you're going to want and that you're probably going to be with the company for a longer period of time. So I'm interested is a great start. Your next option is under the Jobs tab. And the Jobs tab is going to have the same thing. Are you interested in working with us? So you can either do it through the About section or the Jobs. But going into the People area, one of the features on the LinkedIn algorithm is, are you connected to somebody in our company? And LinkedIn is telling us right now that for Fidelity Investments, there are 82,941 employees who have a LinkedIn profile. And it's going to give you some information about them. First column is where they live. Being able to narrow down to the area where you live probably gives you a better chance of connecting with people. Where they studied, let's see what else they've got here. What they do tells you what department they work in. You've got a lot of people up here. Maybe you need to narrow it down to one of the departments so that you can find people who are probably more likely to want to connect with you. What they're skilled at and what they studied, I can't tell you that I use that very often, but it does tell you if you're connected. And if you have any first degree connections, here they are. People move around and you don't keep track of everybody in your network. So a lot of times you're going to be surprised that you know somebody in a company and you hadn't realized it. So being able to message any of these people and say, I just applied for this role. Can you tell me who the hiring manager is or the recruiter? And would you be willing to forward my resume to them? Would you be willing to recommend me if you know them well enough to ask that? So being able to find the people who are first degree connections, great opportunity. Now, if you don't have a first degree connection, maybe you have a second degree connection. And a second degree connection means that this is a person who is in your network, or not in your network, but it's the network of somebody that you have connected with. So it's a little bit further away from you. It's not a first degree connection, but it's close. You may want to connect with people here, but you're going to want to send a personalized message. And if you go through and you say, maybe this is the person right here that I think is going to be financial services professional. Never use the white connect button on your laptop or your PC because that sends an automatic, like to be part of your network. You don't want that. You want to be able to personalize the message. And you can click on their name or their headshot. And when you go to their profile page, you'll see that there's a blue connect button. A blue connect button on your computer, on your laptop, is always going to allow you to personalize the message. Unfortunately, it's just the opposite if you're using your phone. So let's just pretend like we're all on laptops today. When you're going to be connecting with someone, take a look through and see if you have anything in common. What are they doing? What is their background? And crafting a message. They don't give you an awful lot of room in these messages. I applied for this role. How do you like working there? Would love to discuss. Let's connect. Most of the time, your first networking connection to a stranger is just going to be the opportunity to connect. If you ask them to do anything on your behalf, it's probably too soon and it might spook them a little bit. So, your first connection request is just going to be, we have something in common. Let's connect. Either I applied for a job or I'm expanding my LinkedIn network to include more financial services professionals, would love to connect. Boom. After they become a first degree connection, then you can talk with them a little bit more associated with a network that achieves a result that is beneficial to you. I have an interview scheduled coming up for this role. Any insights as to what I should be saying or how I should respond or what questions are going to come up? So, finding people to connect to, you need to be connected to at least one person in every company you're interested in. LinkedIn allows you to follow as many companies as you want. They allow you to connect with as many people as you want. They allow you to say, I'm interested in working for your company as many times as you want. So you don't have limits there like you do on your messaging. Now, if you are in, first one here is the Dallas Fort Worth area, let's take a look at that. If you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area and you're taking a look at all of the people who are in this area, they have quite a presence here. Uh, Sometimes the best people to connect to are recruiters. Their job is to collect people. It's to find the right people. And there are 89 people who have the title of recruiter either currently or have had a recruiter role in the past. So as you look through here, some of these are going to be staying in the talent acquisition or the recruiter area. Some of them are going to be moving on to other areas and are no longer recruiters. As you scroll through here, you're looking for the purple hashtag hiring to see if anybody has active jobs and they are indicating on LinkedIn by the hashtag hiring banner that they are interested in connecting with you if you are capable of doing the roles that they have outstanding. Looks like Fidelity doesn't really use that feature much, does it? Okay, so much for that. It was a good idea. Sometimes they do. Finding the recruiter that is probably going to be in the area that you would be working. Is this someone who's an executive recruiter? Is it a technical recruiter? Is it a college recruiter? Finding a little bit more about the recruiting team and finding the person who is probably going to be the best fit for you can be worthwhile. Those connection requests are, I'm interested in career opportunities at Fidelity, would love to talk more about and then give a job title because of my background in something or another. Would love to talk. Let's connect. Giving them a reason to connect is going to make it all the more important for them to read it and understand that you really are capable of being a positive connection and possibly a useful one if they want to be able to hire you.
Ruth, Terry asked, is the find the recruiter option only for LinkedIn Premium?
I do not have premium. So anybody who has LinkedIn can do everything I'm doing today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well,
Now let's,
all right, so Sebastian follows up and says, to follow up on that, is LinkedIn Premium worth it when actively job searching?
quite often, yes, but you need to know what premium gives you before you buy it. No use buying LinkedIn Premium. It is kind of costly these days. If you're not going to be able to use the features that it gives you. Uh, so do a little bit more research as to what opportunities it gives you. And there are a couple things. A lot of it's going to be on the jobs tab. And let me show one more thing here before we go into LinkedIn Premium, but hold me to this, Jeff. Um, let's say that you are taking a look at connecting to somebody in Fidelity, and there are a lot of people in Fidelity, and you want to be able to narrow it down a little bit easier. If you went to University of Texas, here are all the people who went to UTA, UTD, A&M. I say you went to A&M, and you want to look at people who are in the finance department. You've narrowed it down to 137, and 137 is still a lot, but your connection requests to these people are going to be, I see you also attended Texas A&M. I enjoyed my time there. I am considering careers at Fidelity Investments. Uh, would love to hear how you like it there. Let's connect. But anytime you've got a hook that says we have things in common, absolutely connect with them. Use that as the way of getting their attention because alumni groups are huge and are generally more positive on you're a person who is similar to me. The other way to do that is to go to let's go with just Texas Tech. When you're on the college or university, you don't care about much except for the alumni. And when you click on alumni, there are 199,280 people who attended the same school you did. And guess what? Here's where they work. So if you wanted to say, I want to know every alumni that worked at Fidelity, here they are. And by the way, there are others at Charles Schwab. There are others at Goldman Sachs. LinkedIn is going to be giving you more options through here. And having that as your way of connecting, I see you also attended Texas Tech. I enjoyed my time there. Go Red Raiders. Uh, and then give your proposition. I'm interested in careers at Goldman Sachs. How do you like it there? Let's connect. So using your school, and you can use your children's schools. If you are paying tuition for a kid to go someplace, that's a perfectly good way to connect also. I see you attended Texas Tech. My daughter loves it there. And then go on with your next. So use your family, schools, universities, colleges as a way of connecting with people because it gives you a little bit more of a reason to be part of their lives because you already are. Okay, let's take a look at LinkedIn Premium though. LinkedIn Premium can do a couple of things. And let's describe a job that you want. And let's say I'm a project manager looking for remote jobs in financial services industry. Okay, got 177 results here. And the results on any search are going to be in order of how well they match to your profile. So the ones at the top of the page are generally going to be the ones that have more close tie to the information you have in your profile. If you are a premium holder, they are going to give you your profile is missing some of the requirements and it's going to list them. So anything that's got a star right now is going to be able to expand out and say, here are the 15 different skills for this role. You have 12 of them. Here are the 3 that you don't have, which gives you the ability to go back and add those to your profile if you really do have them, or take a class, indicate that you're taking a class as you're adding those to you, to the profile. It also gives you information about the company And being able to see more about what the company does, what type of hiring they've done recently, gives you some charts and some details there. So if you're looking for a job, LinkedIn is giving you additional information that might be worth your while. It also gives you a bit of a boost in the algorithm so that they are going to reward you a little bit more for that. So if you are looking for it, do some research and say, what does it give me? How should I use it? It gives you more messaging capabilities. Instead of just a couple each month, it gives you a little bit more, which is nice when you're trying to network your way into a job. And incidentally, one of the best networking connection requests is I've applied for this role at your company. I understand your company gives a bonus if an internal employee gives a recommendation. Would you like me to use your name? And for the couple $100 that they would get just by saying, here's the person's resume, you might want to look at them. They still have to go through the interview process, but it's easy money for a lot of people. So just one more way of networking. But check out the premium. Don't get it until you're ready to use it, though. Too expensive for that. So let's take a look. We've gone through how to show interest into a company. Increasing your visibility is going to be an important part too, because LinkedIn is going to reward people who are active on LinkedIn. You're using LinkedIn, you're continuing conversations on LinkedIn. Those are all the things that LinkedIn wants you to do. So if you are on LinkedIn and you are um, looking for a job, if you are networking, if you are commenting on posts, they are going to be very positive on that. And generally, 3 times a week, you need to do something on LinkedIn. And that can't be that hard if you're out there looking for a job. One of the things that they look at is when a recruiter does reach out to you, do you respond to the recruiter, even if you don't want the job? If it's a job that you're interested in, yeah, sure. You're going to send a note back to the recruiter. Oh my gosh, this is perfect. I match up so well with it. I'm free on Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Let's talk. But if you ignore a recruiter outreach to you, then LinkedIn starts decreasing your response capability. And that brings you further down in the search. Don't respond to people who are trying to sell you something. Don't respond to people who think you should be taking some additional classes through their university. Those you don't care about. But if it's a recruiter saying, we think you're a good fit for this job, always, always, always respond. If you have recently updated your LinkedIn profile, if you have changed your headline, if you've added a skill, if you have written a recommendation, those are all things that boost your score also. If you have added a resume, and you're allowed, I think, up to 9 different resumes right now that you can load on there. Not a real fan of that because I think that recruiters sometimes cheat and take one of those and forget everything else that's on your profile, but it can give you a boost. If you've worked at an organization with a recent layoff, LinkedIn is going to bring you higher on the search. And the way that LinkedIn finds that is that all of a sudden you start adding in information in a lot of different parts of your LinkedIn profile. It assumes that you are back on LinkedIn. Nobody uses LinkedIn until they're searching for a job generally. So as soon as you are suddenly active, they're going to reward you for that. Ties back in with the active on LinkedIn side. And just some statistics so that you're able to ensure that you're dealing with the LinkedIn algorithm and what LinkedIn feels is important and what it wants you to be doing. But you also have to be aware that there are 2 different goals on LinkedIn. One, to have that search engine optimization so the algorithm can find you. But the other is that when a human eye hits your profile, you're going to be welcoming. It's going to be easy to read. You're going to have the information there that is going to make it comfortable for someone to recognize the skills that you have. And remember that on the skills section, you can put up to 100 skills, but unless you've got at least one endorsement for that skill, the algorithm can't see it. So if you just recently added 20 new skills because they're important for the job search, but nobody has said that you truly do have this skill by endorsing you, you might want to go out to your network, ask a couple folks to endorse certain skills so that they can be found by the network, by the algorithm. And in return, you can ask what they would like you to endorse from their set of skills. Questions?
Sebastian asked, is there such a thing as too many skills on your profile? Do recruiters see many skills as a positive or negative thing?
Since LinkedIn added up to 100 skills, it used to be 50 just a couple years ago. It seems as if recruiters are looking for generally the 50 timeframe. I wouldn't put over 80. It seems like you're overdoing it at that point. Leave some room for others. Most people generally don't need more than 50, but make sure that you're looking at both your industry experience, your technical experience, as well as the soft skills that you have. And the way to find your soft skills is to ask, what made me successful in my last job? And it might not be something technical. It may be that you were able to solve a problem. It may be that you were able to have high quality. It may be that you were able to work with other people and build those relationships. So make sure you're representing yourself both ways in your skills section and everywhere else on your profile. But make sure that you get the endorsements on it so that people can say, yep, that person does have that skill.
I think the best thing they did when they added more skills is they allowed you to put skills for each individual job that you had. So you can pick 5 or 6 skills to highlight the job that you've got or had.
Absolutely true. Yes. Good questions. What else?
Hey, Jeff,
Yeah,
I
go
couldn't
ahead.
hear what you just said. You were very soft, but I can hear Ruth real well, but I can't hear you so well. What did you just ask her or say to her?
I just talked about one of the things that's new on LinkedIn is they added where you can put skills for each job that you have listed. That's a new option. And I think
Oh,
it's a good way that you can highlight, 5 or 6 skills to show. And remember, when recruiters, those ones that are using the recruiting package on LinkedIn, they're going to put in a job title and they're going to put in a couple skills that they're looking for. So that's why it's important to have skills listed because that will, it's one of the big search uh, things that they look for.
okay. Thank you.
Jeff, I had another question for Ruth. In the chat, I put a screenshot in there titled Candidate Seniority Level. And I was wondering if she could provide any insight into what exactly they mean by those descriptors, or if she could tell me where to go find that information myself.
This is where they are showing that the people who have applied for this role and what their title is. So are they entry level? Are they senior? Are they director? Um, it doesn't always mean a lot. It's more important to know what it is the company is looking for and how you can position yourself to be more suitable and more keyed into what they're looking for.
And these are not necessarily applicants, but those that clicked on apply, correct?
These are the ones who clicked on apply, but it doesn't mean that they necessarily completed the application process. LinkedIn loses them after they get off of LinkedIn and into an applicant tracking system.
Thank you.
Anybody have any other questions?
Ruth, can I tell you that this has been the absolute best LinkedIn informational session I've had in the last year and a half. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So glad to hear that.
So I
What
have
made
a
it
question.
good?
Can I connect with you, Ruth?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you.
What made it so good, Ruth, is that it focused on an area that nobody has ever focused on from the recruiter standpoint, the recruiter side, what they see, what they do, what they're looking for specifically. And there was a lot of tips and strategies in here that I had never heard before. And I've been to probably half a dozen different information sessions like this on LinkedIn. So.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate hearing that.
So if you'd like to connect with Ruth, here's one of her older profiles, but because she keeps changing all the time, so I never have the current one up there. But you're welcome to connect with Ruth. Let her know you saw her here, and I know she'll connect with you. You know, I will also. So just let us know where you found us. Next week, our speaker is going to be Terry Sullivan. He's a founder of BuzzPro, a digital sales and marketing leader. How to tell your key contacts and prospects who you are, what you do, and how you can help. Please note this session will not be recorded to view after the event. So if you want to watch Terry, you will need to watch him live next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Next, this coming Wednesday, tomorrow, you can join the practice interview team in person. If you live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, come join us. They'll be at Christ United Methodist Church, corner of Coit and Parker in Plano. They're there from 1 to 3 o'clock. The first, second, third, and fifth Wednesday of the month, they are in person. In 2 weeks, they will be online only. So everybody who lives outside the DFW area will be able to join them on the fourth Wednesday. For those of you who live outside the DFW area, join us online. We're recommending this week that you watch session 4 of 13, all about video interviewing. First impressions are still very important in the virtual meeting world. How to optimize a video conference environment to provide a positive visual presence. If you didn't get the link in the email that came out this week, just go to the careerusa.org website, go to the current Wednesday date. So it'll be August 20th listed tomorrow. And when you click on Interview Wednesday, it'll open up and give you the link to the YouTube video that you can go watch at your convenience. This Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group, PJ Dunn will be with us. If you haven't heard PJ, he does an excellent job. This is a new subject. He's going to talk about imposter syndrome, turning self-doubt into self-mastery. So we had a person ask for this a couple months ago, and we found that PJ could talk about it. So he'll be with us this Friday, 9:30. You can join us in person or on Zoom. You're welcome to join the Career DFW or careerusa.org LinkedIn groups. We're about to hit 16,000 people. I think we're less than 10 people away from hitting 16,000 members in the DFW group. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join that group. I just happened to start that group when I started the website. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career USA YouTube channel. It'll be up there in a couple hours. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please do, because that way, every time we post a new video, you'll find out all about it. On the Career USA YouTube channel, click on playlist. Every video I goes onto a certain playlist. And don't click on the video, click down below where you see view full playlist, and it'll become a list of all the dates in chronological order with the speaker and the topic that they're talking about. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops, you're welcome to join the Career USA mailing list. You'll never be spammed because I control the list, but you can scan this QR code and just send a blank email, or just send a blank email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. Please remember, Career DFW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. All of our speakers are volunteers. I'm a volunteer. Everything I've done over the last 15 years has just been here to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you very much for joining us today. Ruth, thank you very much. Excellent presentation. And hopefully we'll see you at the PIC Crew or Friday at the North Dallas Group.